This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carrie Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Monty!
Carrie Ann Sear of CMG Financial. So good to see you.
So good to see you. Look, we're twinning today, my friend.
Are we? All right.
Look at that.
The Talk of Music City Real Estate. Hey, we've got an awesome guest with us today.
We do.
You know, Michael Brobeck. Michael, is it Brobeck Teams? Tell us what you guys go by.
It's Brobeck Homes.
Brobeck Homes. I'm sorry, Brobeck Homes. Well, Carrie Ann, I asked Michael to join us today because, you know, as you know, a year and a half ago or so, he was on the podcast with us, sharing the heartfelt experience that he and his wife had gone through, and what was really amazing, part of what was really amazing about that story is, here's a young guy who attended our awards get-together and was inspired about seeing the success happening on the stage and so forth, and he came up to me and said, Monty, I'm going to be up there on that stage. And about, I don't know, what was it, maybe a month or two in the business, you decided to quit your job.
Quit my full-time job.
Quit your job and cash in on your townhome that you had bought the year before.
7 months before.
7 months before. Because you knew you could give yourself a runway. Now, look, first of all, I'm not advocating anybody do that, okay? We're not suggesting, hey, go sell your house. I am, though, suggesting that here's somebody who's he was committed, okay?
Truly committed.
Jason and I talk a lot of times about a lot of folks are interested in real estate,
right?
But they're not committed to success. Now, real estate is simply a vehicle. You know, we all trade time for dollars. Some of us trade time for dollars, you know, $10 an hour. Some of us trade time for, like you, what is it, $1 million an hour? What do you make?
Too funny.
I'm just kidding. But it's a decision. You have to decide, what am I worth? And then you go into getting that vehicle in real estate. Is that vehicle that you can get compensated really well if you do a great job. And anyway, so here we are now.
In the long term too, right? Meaning a couple years ago, maybe it was fast money, and that's why we talk about the tortoise or the hare. I mean, if you're in it to win it long term, and you're positioning yourself in your mid-20s right now and what you're doing and being that inspiration and seeing people and wanting to be there and making those true commitments can allow you success in any market, which is awesome.
And then it's not dependent upon the hot, fast market that a lot of people make a lot of money that really weren't ready to do that. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things I love about you, Michael, is you start developing habits that are going to be relevant regardless of market conditions. You know what I'm talking about.
The market conditions aren't gonna affect your production. It shouldn't be. I mean, it could temporarily, but obviously all of us, the market changed quick. If you didn't pivot, then you're probably still thinking, oh, this is a bad market, or this isn't going to be kind to me. When if you were being successful in the seller's market, you should be even more successful in the buyer's market.
What I love about you and your wife, and what I've seen over our time becoming friends and talking business, is you truly are running your business like a business, right? There's strategies, there's a beginning, middle, and end. There's, I want to do this goal, I've changed my goals, right? And approaching real estate, that's really important to do. Approaching it in my business as well. You know, we might not be the so-called, or I might not totally own my company, but I own my little piece of the pie, right? And you do as well,
and
we
own our reputation.
For sure.
You know, we own what people think about us. We have to own that. So, Michael, let's hear from you as far as, share with us just get us up to date as far as, okay, what was it? Was it 18 months ago that we sat down here before, something like that?
August of 21. So it's been a while. Yeah. At that time, I had just sold my house. I might have had 1 or 2 contracts pending, but I was brand new. I was a baby. I came in here and tried to claim it, and I rode that same energy to today. So, yeah, well,
because 18 months in business doesn't make you anything more than a baby. Really, you're still new, but you're really embracing the things that require for a professional. That's what I love. One of the things I love about you. And so, in 18 months, you went from not knowing what you're doing, and seriously, when I saw the results that you have done this last year, I was blown away. I mean, you're one of the top agents in our company now. How do you do that? I mean, honestly, that's why I wanted you to come on here today, because there's a whole lot of newer agents out there. A lot of younger folks, maybe older folks, but they're newer to the business. How do you do that? How do you take ownership so early, not having a business background? Was it because you studied beforehand? Was it because you just you had the urgency because you have a growing family? I mean, what is it that really empowered you and inspired you?
So for me, I was hungry, and as you brought back, like in this industry, I didn't come from anything from this. I was in a manufacturing plant. It was going good. You think that is successful to move up in that company, but when you get into real estate and you see it, you can't unsee it. So
wow.
Like there's the failure option, like it's not going to take me out of the business. So I never stopped focusing on my business. I never thought about alternative routes. When I came on here, one of the things I said that applies every day is I have an exit strategy to my exit strategies. So it's A, B, C. If you get me out on plan Z, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I just don't give up. I didn't give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw a hustle in him. Yeah. I see a huge work ethic. He would call me late sometimes, early sometimes, and ask questions that no other agents ask, right? And so there's got to be a way. Right. There's got to be a way. Right.
Let's speak on that. So that there's got to be a way, right? Mm-hmm. What is that? What are you talking about? It's got to be a way to benefit the client, a way to bring a better product. How do we beat the interest rates? What can we do? What's the way? If you're not finding those answers out early on, then you're still wondering, what am I going to do in 23? Where I feel as if, not completely, but we've pivoted and found solutions to the problem, basically, and we putting the client at the very front, If you don't have a client, you're definitely not going to have a closing, right? And if we focus on that client today to get them to closing, then are they going to come back to you? That's what you got to think about. What are we doing to make sure that the client knows that we're exhausting all options? There's
a quote I think I posted a little bit back, and it says, you're only as how's it go? Something about you're only one risk away from making a huge difference in your business, right? Or in your life. And I remember you, a year or so ago, you took the leap and you reached out to a gentleman that a lot of people, and it could have been a gal, but this one was a gentleman, that some people wouldn't even take the risk. It was a multi-million-dollar listing. You've never listed one before. Remember that?
Yeah.
And you went and you jumped out in the deep end and you took a risk, and the worst thing that guy could have said was blank, right? And you got the invite to present to him, right? And that was huge. Even for somebody like myself, I was inspired by that, because for you to take the leap, to take the risk, to jump out, that is what's making a difference in your business.
So that listing specifically, I never got it. I never sold it. The guy kind of ghosted me. I don't know if he even owned the property. But when I was looking at it, I had to come up with, what am I going to say to get this guy's attention? And it worked. I got the meeting, and I used that same, I wouldn't even call it a script. It was more just like my approach. And I probably sold 20 listings with the same approach.
Well, I think part of it, though, Michael, and especially in that situation, was it's about confidence.
Right.
Okay, people have to believe the messenger before the message matters, and you spoke with a confidence, I'm sure, to get his attention, and you've done similar scenarios since then, I'm sure, to get that, because I'm a big believer. If I don't believe the messenger, I just hang up the phone, or I just go on down the road. It's too easy in today's world to avoid somebody if you want to. But if there's a conviction on the other end, now you got my attention. And I think that's one of the places that you start, because you walked into this business with a conviction, with a commitment that failure is not an option. You got a family counting on you, right?
Absolutely.
Is that part of your inspiration?
I've got a family that's growing, and I've got a daughter that is 6 years old, and she looks up to me. And if I'm not taking care of my business outside of home, you're probably not taking care of it inside your home. That's kind of my thought process. So
I love that. I think back when I was your age in the industry, I would never call on $1 million client, right? And just because I felt like I wasn't worthy of that client yet, or maybe I was just too scared that they would, look at me or talk to me a different way, et cetera, et cetera. And looking back, how many risks I did not take, and where would I be today if I just jumped in the deep end? I think over 40 now, we don't care. We jump in every deep end and that's fine. But to be inspired by you, Michael, to do more now, younger in your career, matures you so much further in this career and leaps you to major places, which is exciting to see, because one step gets you feeling more confident, right? And every step you take, you get even more confident.
Yeah, in this industry, if you know the work that needs to be done, the business, inspection and you learn the business. After that, it's what do you do with your clients that matters, right? So through the beginning, we'll start talking about kind of what changes I made throughout taking these risks. It wasn't just the selling the house and getting the business. There was multiple risks taken since growing the business that have then changed the direction and taught us what not necessarily what works, but what works for us and what we know is buildable, what we know that people are happy with.
Yeah, you want to share a few?
Yeah, so a big change was Ricky Carruth. We talked about this, I believe, at the podcast. I think it was like a week after Ricky Carruth. And that same week, I had like 5 new listings. And it's that approach. And I actually learned something last week to go with this. And a lot of new agents or experienced agents, they're calling with a script. They're anticipating what the person's going to say. While the person's talking, they're thinking about what they're going to say. If you would just not think about what you're going to say while they're talking and just listen, it's okay to have a silence. It's okay to respond and not react. We learn these things young, and then you get into real estate and you think that you have to sell the person over the phone. You're not selling them anything. You're giving them information and listening, because I question, why am I getting all the for sale by owner listings and so many people say they're not? And then I learned that last week at a life group, like, hey, don't think about what you're going to respond to. And I'm actually listening to the first question, the second question, the third question.
Hear rather than listening to respond.
If I can listen to you the whole time, but somebody else is only listening to the first question, oh, I know what I'm going to say. You've tuned them out. You've missed question number 2 and 3, and I answered all of them because I waited. I was patient. Because I just take this, I'm going to serve my client. It wasn't always like that, because before Ricky Carruth, I didn't have anybody saying, you got to build the relationship over the transaction. Not that I didn't hear that, but I didn't know what's going to work.
It didn't click at the time.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
for sure. So I ask you a question. I'm the for sale by owner, right? And then there's a pause. Do you just prep me or like ignite something for me to ask another question? Or
no,
I just pause and then that's the end.
I'm just going to have a conversation with you and find out what your goal
I think that's
what
the
your
difference.
goal
I think
is.
that's what Ricky does.
What's your goal? What's your goal?
You're going to ask me questions.
Having a real conversation.
It's okay for me to be on the phone with you, and let's drag the conversation so we can go back and forth and talk about the solution together. Because most of the people that you're talking to, when you start talking, we can do a 2-to-1 buy down, and we can do that, you're losing them. So let's have a conversation, look at what they're trying to do. If we don't have a solution today, we'll find one. And if we don't find it, we're going to let the client know. We're going to follow up with them. We're going to serve them. If they're coming here and they can't buy, we're going to make sure they still come here and have a home. Where I feel like people aren't doing that. I've gotten so many, like whether it's a rental, somebody wants a rental, there's no way that I'm the first person they've talked to. So let's start helping these people. That's what's been triggered in my mind.
Yeah. Last week I was talking to April. You know April.
Yeah, absolutely.
She has sat in your presence while you're on the phone, and you've sat in hers while she's on the phone. I was shocked because you're an energetic guy. Okay, I mean when you and I talk, it's like bam, bam, bam. It's like we're playing a heated tennis match or something. It's just back and forth really fast. Because I think you're learning that importance of speaking to somebody in the tone and tonality that they can run with or not, and then
personalities.
It's about the disc, a lot of it. But anyway, the point is, April said that Michael told me I need to tone it down, and she goes, when I listened to him on the phone, he was so conversational and so calm and easygoing. And I just wouldn't have seen that in you, but you're absolutely doing the right thing. You're mirroring who is on the other side so that you develop trust. because people do business with the people they know, like, and trust.
I mean, you absolutely got to know who you're talking to, and you should be able to find that out fairly quick. And you do have to cater to that personality. But at the end of the day, you need to go into it being yourself. Now, that self changes as you grow. You can't fake it. The fake it till you make it is true, but you have to make it there, and that comes through self-growth. So once you learn, like, to tone it down, it's not that you're wrong. It's that this person on the other end, it might not be getting with them. There's somebody that you got to be excited to jump around with. And me and you, if we talk, I'm going to interrupt you 10 times. I'm going to say, sorry, I'm working on it. But when I'm talking to my clients, I'm before I call them, I tell myself, hey, stop thinking about what they're going to say, what you're going to say. Try to listen so we can identify if there's a problem or not. And then when you're conversational, you become friends. It's okay to make new friends. You may not go to all their kids' baseball games, but I got invited to a new church, and I sat right in between my clients. I wasn't worried about my business. I was following, what I believe. And I knew that it's because I'm building a relationship with these people, and I'm enjoying doing it. I'm out here having a lot of fun.
That's cool. That's great.
That is so cool, brother. I'm
leading
so proud of you.
with relationships
so
versus transactions.
We're leading with intentions. Because me and Emily, we're not very social. We don't have a bunch of friends. We don't go out on the weekends. So we started to see that we're not being intentional enough about maybe making new friends or being closer to our clients. So when they're here, they're coming to us. We have a lot of relocations, right? So if you're brand new here, I want you to say, Michael, what's the best place to get wings? Because I've been here my whole life. I know, and I want to be that person.
Chicken wings?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. I'm like, wings? What are you talking about? That's good.
I want to know
the connector.
How I can be their go-to.
Top of mind.
For sure.
Top of mind.
So we have a lot of agents that listen to this, and newer ones as well, trying to get new ideas. So share maybe your 3 top strategies or ideas for creating, initial success. What would you recommend?
Yeah, let's say you met a brand new agent who you really wanted just to go ahead and help, because I know you're coming from a place of contribution, not a survival. What would you tell that person about top 3 things that they should consider?
So the 3 pillars that I would tell a new agent to build off of, because like we said, if you don't have a client, then you don't have a closing. So I think the top 3 activities an agent could do would be door knocking and meeting people. Let's meet the people around us. Hopefully bring something of value, even if it's a card with some information on it, but have genuine conversations. Get some contact information. Write down, if you don't get contact information, write down their address, send them a letter in the mail, tell them that you appreciate the 3 minutes that they talked to you.
Thank you for the time we shared.
Think about how many other doors didn't get opened. Thank them for opening the door. Open houses. There's open houses all weekend, every weekend. I'm not going to say most, but there's a lot of agents that don't want to participate in their own open houses. You can get one Saturday and Sunday, but at least once a week, you should be doing an open house. People are coming in, you get a chance to meet them, provide them value, and when you're doing an open house at somebody else's listing, it's easy to say, let's get this, you like it, let's get with a lender, let's make sure you're going through the right steps, and if that house doesn't work out, have other options for them. Say, hey, I printed these other properties off that are similar. Take a look at them. You never know. Maybe you're showing houses come 5 o'clock at night. Maybe you're at a listing appointment at 5 o'clock at night. But if you don't do the open house, then you're not going to be anywhere.
Well, I think too, the open houses are a great way to practice your conversations, right? Just to feel more confident within talking to people. We're in sales. It should be easy for us to talk to people, right? There's so many people in that personality that don't.
And reach out to other agents that are doing more business and say, hey, can I come shadow an open house? Can I come do an open house with you?
Yeah, because I do think there's a rhyme or reason to doing a proper open house, right? And or a more successful open house. And how do you and I learn unless we, like Monty's shares, success leaves clues. So follow someone else's lead, right? How did they open the door? For me, in my business, that's how I watched. I watched somebody who was older and more mature in the industry, and I learned all her best strategies, right? And just why change it when it's working so well, right? And so that's a huge one. I love that.
And I think that's an important element right now as the market is changing, is we have to get back to those
basics,
face-to-face basics, of really just stopping, listening to the conversation, having being genuine with people, making sure we're following up all the time, always bringing value. I try to tell the agents all the time is, look, your number one job today is not necessarily to sell a home or list a home. Your number one job is to add to the list of people who know, like, and trust you, to be top of mind, and then continually to build your list of vendors that you trust and you feel like you can confidently put your name, a stamp of approval on that, and you will eventually start becoming that person's go-to person for everything then. And then this law of reciprocity kicks in and says, hey, Michael's been so consistently good with us, taking care of all the things we've ever needed. I know Billy Bob next door is thinking about selling his home. I'm going to connect those two. They have to. It's that law of reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any businesses that you would call yourself a fan of? Whether it be a restaurant or a place to go have fun, like you're a fan of that business or that player. You're a fan. And that's a positive thing. You support people that you're fans of, and you want to, in this business, if you're making friends and making fans and people who want to see you do good and do more because they know what you did for them, then they're going to build your business. They're going to help you build your business.
Yeah, launch your business.
Yeah,
soar
you
your business.
cannot think about today. Today, we're going to work. Tomorrow, that's when we'll get a little bit of, what was that word with the R?
Law of reciprocity?
Reciprocity. You're going to get that reciprocity.
Whatever Monty's saying. Yeah, there you go.
Reciprocity.
Yeah, I mean, they say, you
want to give back.
You stay the course, stay consistent, give, right? Just constantly give. And eventually the needle shifts and you're not chasing after any business. It just naturally, organically is coming to you. And that's a huge win. That's going to make it, make a huge
my
difference.
number 3, I've been kind of, I'm not sure. I've got 2. So if I could share the 2.
Yeah.
Cold calling is very important. If you're not willing to get on the phone and have a conversation with somebody and tell them what you do, then I don't know. I'm a really strong believer that you need to be making some cold calls, because the goal is for everybody to know who you are, what you do, and that you're the best at what you do. And if they don't even know your name, then they don't know you.
So is that similar to following Ricky Cruz's program? Is that what you're recommending, or what kind of recommend? What kind of recommendation?
So with me, I'm open ears to everything, and I build my own puzzle. So I may take a piece from this and a piece of this and a piece of this, and it comes down to, what do I believe is right and wrong? A lot of the stuff works. It's just, how do I want to grow? Because what I'm consuming and believing, that's me growing. So I think being careful on not what you consume, but what you believe. So taking there's a lot of free coaching. So cold calls is a top 3, 4, but also education, so important. I look back at, and you had asked me a question about what did I know before real estate? Like, what is it that's made me successful? And before real estate, I did learn about some investing and off-market stuff, but I went back and I still watch the guy's channel. His name's Max Maxwell. He doesn't have this massive following. And I kind of was shocked, because this is 3 or 4 years later after discovering him, and he's still getting 4,000 and 5,000 views. Because he's super genuine. So I've learned a lot, and I can take from that. Maybe just educating yourself. You're taking the time to look at podcasts or people on YouTube that don't have the millions of views that they're pushing. There's some really successful people out there. Like we call it YouTube University. So if I was talking to an agent, I would definitely have to recommend some different channels and consume as much of this as you can. Yeah,
I watch Tom Ferry a lot. He's got, there's so much material just on his Facebook page, and I can grab tons and tons and tons of information. Even for me, I take it, flip it for my personality, and run with it. And so I think you're onto something, that this is the time right now, if the market is a little bit lower, to learn practice, fail, right? I mean, this is the time to fail forward, do all the things, because you probably are grateful for some of the failures that you've had over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to read you a quote so bad. I gotta find it though.
Okay, you're good.
It was a present I had gotten for Christmas, but it said something along the lines like, "There is no success without failure."
Right.
It's called "The Man in the Arena." I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's a quote I got for Christmas. Yeah, I mean, if you're not educating yourself every day, you're not gonna have the edge, right? So if Monty reads a book tomorrow and writes a one-page summary on it with everything that he truly believes is key, if I trust Monty, then I can just read that one page and I can read another book. We have to leverage and have the edge. So if I'm educating myself, you're educating yourself, you're coming out with new, better ways to help our clients win, then we have all the knowledge. So I mean, it's very important to stay on that. Talking, like, I call you all the time and say, what do you think about this? Because I trust your opinion. Because you've been here. So I leverage your experience to grow my business.
I wish everybody did that. I really do. Not everybody taps into the old guy's wisdom,
They all call you, man.
Yeah, not everybody does. Yeah. So, Michael, I'm curious. What would you recommend that person who you're talking with as far as these are the things I would do? What have you learned over the last couple of years that, probably maybe not a good idea after the fact, if there was anything? I mean, I think it is a good deal to fail forward. Absolutely. I think that the more we can fail forward, the closer we are to true success, I think. But are there things that you watch other new agents fall into, other than the fact that somebody gets their license and they think that the world's going to start calling them now because they got their license and silliness like that? But what would you say that, when a new agent is tempted to what? I mean, how would you finish that?
I think people take too much time talking about it. We can sit here. We're not reinventing the wheel. You could talk about direct mail or cold calls or whatever marketing. They all work. But if you're not taking action, then
execute.
If you're not, execution is so key. And I think Alyssa Thompson, her thing she said is, there's a difference between being productive and being busy. We can all stay busy and say we're busy. But if we're stay doing productive activities. Keep your schedule busy and wake up and go to work. Don't wake up and talk about work. Right,
and then wing it. Right, I mean, have strategic, intentional mornings, middays, and afternoons.
All four of those top four ideas that I shared are all free. You can make cold calls. You can do open houses. You can door knock. And you can educate yourself. Right.
Here's a quote from Les Brown. This is the one that I really like. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than have an opportunity and not be prepared. And so that's so true, because this is the time to learn. I'm surprised so many people don't come to even the finance classes and learn all the things, right? What they do is they wait till they have the buyer, and then they try to figure it out, right, type of thing. So this is the time to learn, and take the risks and do all.
Also, with what you just said, if you don't know the answer, then when you have that initial conversation with that prospective buyer, they're going to see through it because they know you don't know what you're talking about, especially if you're not going to be honest. So I think just covering those things up front, of course, you're not going to know everything, but if you can be prepared for those conversations, because we all know with real estate, me and Emily have looked at each other many times and said, we don't have anything going on. And then a month later, there's 15 people on our board. It's just, when it comes, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part. Sometimes I know it was over the years with me until I learned that when there is that gap, do the things that you normally can't do. And trust and continue the things in motion. Don't get me wrong. You don't take your hand off the ball, eye off the goal, but be at peace and do the things you can't normally do, and continue the sowing of the seed and so forth, and doing those exercises, making that commitment. The other day I made the decision recently. I made the decision to get a broker's license in another state, and I'm looking at I paid the price to get to the point of now I'm qualified to take the test, but I knew what a crappy job I did. And so I told Connie a week ago, I said, I don't know how I'm going to squeeze in the time right now in my schedule to become proficient with this so that I feel confident that I'm not just totally wasting my time of becoming licensed in another state. And so I just looked at my schedule and said, okay, well, there's nothing going on between 3:30 and 4:30 in the morning. And so I just bumped it up an hour. I know that seems extreme, but if we do want something,
not extreme.
if we do want something bad enough, we're going to pay the price for it. And that's what I think the bottom line with you, Michael, is I think that you inspire me, because damn it, you are not going to take no for an answer. You're going to push on through, and you're going to fail forward, and that's going to be okay, because you've got a bigger goal in mind than just that next transaction.
And what is your biggest goal? I know you referenced you changed your goals.
Yeah, so you may have seen some of, starting to grow a team, and we've went another route and are no longer doing that. So our goals have changed. We, in the fall, bought 2 properties to renovate, and we got them both finished, both on the market. So we've gotten into this investing. So we're on my board. I've got sales, which is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I've got flips, I've got rentals, Airbnbs, and as you know, we did a big multifamily deal last year, and I want to do more of those. So.
Wonderful. So being very diverse. So when any market hits you, you're ready to rock and roll.
I know what to do with every property.
Love that. Love that.
And I think
such a pleasure having you here.
I think that's really critical in a changing market, as you have more than one leg underneath your business, that you have multiple opportunities like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I've taken that time to go all in on sales to be able to now start to see how I can, because as agents, I mean, you don't have a side job. There's not $500 coming in a week unless we can negotiate that. But I can see now where I can benefit my family and the clients. Because now I mean, if you're buying a flip and you're in the middle of it and you have a client looking to buy, you could put them in there and have them pick out what they want. You know, you can be the real estate guy. I love real estate. None of those goals have anything to do with any other businesses. The original question, what are your goals? So I want to get busy enough in my sales that I hire someone to leverage on more of an admin type level. As you know, we're having another baby in about 3 weeks.
Yay.
So Emily's very much involved and is going to stay involved. But I do want to have some other help. And we're hoping to flip about 10 homes this year. We're gonna get some Airbnbs going and hopefully get some rentals.
Love that.
That's
Michael,
what we're aiming for.
I couldn't be more proud of you and Emily.
And I know you're going to do that because you put it out there in the universe, and you're going to make that happen. So proud of you.
Couldn't be more proud of you, man. I mean, you've come such a long ways in less than 2 years' time. It just blows my mind every time I see you in action.
Quite an inspiration, for sure.
Thank you.
Let's get excited because I'm sure we all know the market is getting better. It is getting
it is.
busier.
We're on the doorstep of something big about to happen.
Not this most recent weekend, but the weekend before. The first weekend of the year, we had 3 open houses, and all of them were very successful. One of the renovations we did went under contract within a week. We're just seeing a lot of buyers are ready. There's a lot. We've almost solved that interest rate problem. So.
Well, let's schedule a time soon that we're in another 18 months that we have this meeting again. Okay, I'd love to hear.
Ask me how many units I got.
Yeah.
I love it. Which means Monty thinks we're doing this podcast forever.
That's
I love
right.
it. We're doing it.
Michael, we're proud of you, brother. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for joining us.
You're inspiring a lot of people out there. You really are.
I'm here for any questions for anybody. As I said, I'm just always happy to help our family.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thanks again for being here. Thanks everybody for listening. You've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.